how much does it cost to build a deck? Let's talk about it. So before we get into the numbers and pricing, let's talk about how big is this deck. This deck is 13 feet wide by 36 feet long. So you're looking at somewhere around 468 square footage. Now, this side does not have steps, right? If this deck did have steps, it would be more money. It would be more framing, more decking, more railings, and then a concrete pad. So in this portion of the deck, it's just a straight rectangular deck. This client wanted to do a great AZAC decking, and then he wanted to do black railings. So right now we're installing this decking on top, and then everything on the bottom is going to be covered in white PVC trim. But let's go to the shade and talk about numbers. This deck costs, boom, $36,000, right? So let's break it down. So first and foremost, you're probably saying $36,000, that's like a little camper, you know, right? It's a lot of money, Junior. So if you would have went with a pressure treated deck, it would be about 40 to 50% cheaper. People don't know that PVC trim, PVC decking, PVC railing, it's a lot of money. Now, if you go with a standard pressure treated deck, all wood, then you're gonna save a lot of money. Now, there's maintenance involved in that. The maintenance portion involved is you're gonna have to stain it and you're gonna have to seal it. Now, you're gonna have to do it every 5 to 7 years, you're gonna have to do that. And you're gonna look at the boards and you're gonna say, after 7 years, wow, it still looks great. I would tell you, stain it again or seal it. Why? Because once that wood starts to dry and separate, you're gonna lose the wood, and now the water is gonna go in, and now you're gonna replace all your decking. That's why a lot of people says, you know something, for the money that I'm gonna invest X amount of years of how many times I have to stain it and maintain it, I prefer paying one price and that's it. And the only thing I have to do is clean my PVC deck. So let's break down the prices, right? Everybody wants to know the prices. So number one would be foundation. It would be footings. Let's go. So let's talk about its footings. So footings is right here. I want to show you because we actually did a sonotube footing here. So there is a footing here. And the reason why we kind of broke that up a little bit, so the inspector can see that we did a footing, but we already passed the footing inspection prior to doing all this deck. And then what we did was we put a cap of bluestone on top so we can have a nice little finished paver patio down here, and then we put a pressure treated 6x6.
How many 6x6 do you have?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 to hold up this structure. So this is an LVL, guys. So generally LVLs, you'll find them inside your homes when you're opening up your kitchen or opening up the living room to the dining room, and you'll get a pressure treated. This one is a pressure treated because we're on the outside, but this engineer LVL, we put it here because initially we just wanted to put one post right here so you wouldn't need this post and you just have 3 posts instead of 4. But the client said, you know something, Junior, I just want it to be symmetrical. So even though the load is gonna hold, I want it to look even. So put the 4th post in, and that's what we did anyway. So is it an overkill? Yeah, you can land a plane on this, you know. The deck is not gonna fall. That LVL came about 40 feet long, and then we cut it. So that LVL beam, or the wooden beam, cost me $3,000. So definitely, the purpose for it is to make everything bigger. In this case, we couldn't because the client changed his mind. So just think about it. This deck was $36,000, but just in that piece of wood was only $3,000. Guys, you saw how much this cost. It was $3,000, but let's talk about the railings, right? So the black aluminum railing that we are installing on this deck costed us already about $5,900, $6,000. So roughly you have $6,000 and you have $3,000 already. That's $9,000. Those are just 2 little items. Now we still have to do the framing, the concrete, the decking, right? And then the bigger cost is always going to be the decking. The decking is so much money. So this decking is more expensive than the general decking. This decking cost about $9,000 with the actual hidden fastener clips, the Cortex screws, and everything else that comes with it, right? Is it more? It is more, right? But you can get a PVC or something of a lesser quality, maybe a composite, that you'll save a lot of thousands of dollars less, maybe $2,000 to $3,000. But he went with this board, which cost him $9,000. So framing, all the joists that are here, right? All the ledger boards, the ledger locks, the joist hangers, the joist, everything here costs roughly around $3,000 for all the lumber, including, you know, the 6x6 posts, right? So everything costs about $3,000. Now, we're gonna wrap all these posts in PVC and the LVL, we're gonna wrap it in PVC as well, right? So that's gonna be roughly around $2,000, $2,500. And my labor, are you ready? Only $1,000. You're right, I said only $1,000 to do this job. Psych. So my price is gonna be $13,000. So $13,000 equates to framing it out, organizing, coordinating, being here with the inspectors, everything that we have to do in order to make this project right. 5 days into it, because we have to come back for every inspection, which is the footing inspection, the framing inspection, and then the final inspection. Time and gas, right, is all included in there, right? And then the peace of mind that you're gonna have, right? Because you're getting somebody else to do it professionally. Now, I also offer the 5-year warranty, so if something's wrong, I'll come back and take care of it. So you have that peace of mind when you're hiring us. Now, can you get it cheaper? You can definitely get it cheaper. You can get this deck installed cheaper, right? Why? Because you can get a cheaper contractor to install it. Will he have the craftsmanship, you know, of doing returns, of doing bevel edges, you know, putting in the Cortex shoes really nice and neat, wiping down the trim? That'll only last 4 days, right? You're probably not gonna get him, but you're gonna get somebody that's gonna install the deck, and you're probably in that bracket says, you know, I'm okay with that. He'll probably take 3 weeks. He'll put you in between different jobs, and you know, he'll only charge you maybe $8,000 to do the job, and that's okay for your budget, and maybe he's a weekend warrior. Now, you can even go cheaper than that in labor because you can do it yourself. If you do it yourself, it may take you a good month, maybe 2 months, right? If you're a person by yourself and maybe a helper, it may take you about 2 months. Will you save? I always do the math. I have to calculate my labor hours in there. So if I'm doing it myself with another helper and it takes me 2 months, I'm actually spending more. I'm not saving. So you can actually get this deck installed more than we're charging. So I have other competitors that install decks and they're in a different bracket. You know, we do that type of work, but we try to keep it right in the middle. My price is my price. You can criticize my price down here in the comments below. Maybe you're paying less, maybe you're paying more. Maybe you're saying, Junior, you're too cheap. You're giving the job away. Well, leave it in a comment below. Keep in mind, we're in the Northeast. Keep watching.